Hey guys, good morning. Wanted to take a minute. I was out here playing in the woods today and began to hear some things. I believe are 100% from the Lord, and just wanted to kind of share. I'm out in the middle of our property here. It's pretty fun, and we're so fortunate and blessed. See if I can turn the camera around, kind of show y'all. All this is woods, so nobody can find us up here. Now I wanted to take a second and just kind of share. I was up here cutting trails because obviously it's all grown up and there's no trails in the woods, so kids are trying to do it, and I figure I can do it a little bit safer than they can, so I'm gonna come up, cut trails so they can ride and this and that. But one of the things the Lord really began to minister to me, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, Garen, and he said he really feels like he's called to go prepare a place. I was like, man, that's really cool, and it resonated really strongly with me. And I come out here starting, I don't know if you're supposed to do it, but I was running over trees. I don't know if that's right or not, but warranty may or may not be void at this point. So I just run over crap and hope I can make it over it, So, but that's kind of how I live my life too, good or bad. But I was really praying through, God, I think there's a pathway back to the original intent of the church somewhere. We've just gotten off. We just went astray a little bit. That's all it is. People have the best of intentions, and people just recreate what's been modeled for them, and that's just human nature. We very few people are. I don't want to say trendsetters. Maybe that's a good term, but trailblazers, or whatever you want to call it. Very few people are that. So most of the people that take over and launch ministries and things like that, they're just recreating what's been created in them, which is a model, and that model serves a wonderful purpose, and people are moved and touched and all. But I kind of think that we've gotten off kilter a little bit, following the teachings of a model instead of the teachings of maybe what the gospel was meant to be. I don't know. So as I was going through this, I got to thinking and really just praying through, and it's like, man, I believe our paths have just grown up. So if you look back, when I'm driving this thing and I come up to a tree like this, I can't run over that tree, obviously. I can run over this, I can run over that, not a big deal. We just push through it and whatever, make it a little bumpy, but we can do it. But we come to something like this, it's a roadblock, and I have to reverse and back up. And some people think that having to back up or stop or slow progression down is a bad thing, but a lot of times it gives you perspective, because what's the first thing you do when you start to back up? You look behind you. Well, where'd I come from? What's still there? I think maybe with our model of ministry currently, we've hit some roadblocks. And I think it may be time to look behind us a little bit and back up. And it's not to recreate the past, it's to learn from it. But it's, Lord spoke to me years ago, Matt, it's not about creating a new thing, it's about getting back to the real thing. And the real thing being, the community. In the New Testament, whenever they accepted Christ and began to believe the teachings of the apostles and disciples, and their lives were all in danger, and a lot of them were cut off. They weren't able to eat, and hey, you're a part of that group. We can't serve you. I'm sorry, because it was you could go to jail, or you could be killed and martyred for that. So a lot of those folks came together out of necessity and out of the joy of living the life that God had called us to live as community and as a body and as a bride. And I think that it may be time for us to look back at that a little bit. But unfortunately, the path grew up, so we don't know our way back yet. We know it's in that direction or that direction, but we don't have a clear-cut pathway to it because it's been grown up. And when you begin to walk down that path, you're going to have to run over some stuff. You're going to hit some stumps, you're going to hit some logs, and probably going to come into something like that and have to back up, and that's okay. Everything that we're doing it's okay. We're living the best we know how to do, serving God the best we know how to serve Him, and trying to grow as a community the best we know how to do that. But I think it's time to back up and look behind us and say, all right, God, where do we get off the path? And Lord, we don't see it anymore because it's grown up. It's been a long time since we've been down the authentic road of what the gospel was presented to. And it's been a long time since we've been down the road of a communal living and the things that God's really, I believe, called us to be a part of. So the paths have grown up. So it's time for trailblazers to come in and take one for the team. It's time for the people that are called to go prepare a place to begin to do that. And the problem with that is you're going to get beat up, you're going to get scratched, you're going to get hit, you're going to get bumped. You're going to be the guy that say, hey, oh crap, we took a wrong turn, we're going to back up and go this way, and you're going to catch flack for that. And so leadership, just know it's not going to be a clear-cut trail, and that's okay. It's completely all right. But our paths have grown up. We don't have a clear vision of where the church should be anymore. We have a wonderful idea of the model of church that we currently do. And again, people are getting touched and moved, and I'm not a church basher. You know what I mean? I'm thankful. I'm a part of a congregation in West Georgia, and Pastor Ricky, he's a real pastor, man. Like, he knows the people, he loves the people. He got frustrated with me because I didn't tell him my mama passed away. He's like, man, I'd have come to the funeral. That moved me. He's a real pastor. A lot of churches, unfortunately, don't have real pastors. They have people that want a pastor that are doing it out of a good motive, hopefully, but aren't necessarily called to be that. That's not their gift set. And so they can teach the word, and they're wonderful teachers, but a lot of times teachers aren't the most empathetic, because they're able to see the word black and white, and they can teach it and minister it. And it's powerful when a teacher, ministers the word to you. But if you ask a teacher to pastor, that may or may not be one of their spiritual gifts. It may not be a skill set that they can really thrive in. And I think we've gotten people put into positions that they're not thriving in, they're not called to be in, that maybe they're there to fill a need or fill a void, and again, with good intentions. And but I think it's time to look behind us a little bit and say, all right, God, what did you start this thing to be? And when Jesus came, and he came to redeem us all back to who we were originally called to be, it's like that. Even that teaching will get you kicked out of a lot of churches, to realize, man, we weren't created in sin. We were created with the breath of God in us. And we have fallen into a path that's, been sinful, the sin nature and those things. It's like, what if sin is our second nature and it's not our first one? What if sin doesn't have to rule us? And we're not taught that. We're not even taught to question that, because you're a sinner saved by grace, and I understand all those things. But what if that's our second nature, and our first nature is a son of God, a daughter of God? What if our first nature is to live and be who he called us to be, who he created us to be in the garden? He used to hang out with us in the cool of the day. That, I think that's going to represent a lot what heaven's going to be. A lot of people think they have different interpretations, understandings of heaven, and I really believe you go back to the garden, and I think that's what heaven's going to be. We're going to hang out with God. We're going to hang out with the Lord. We're going to meet a bunch of people. We're going to sow and grow food. And I don't know how all that's going to work. That's kind of what my understanding, my interpretation is. And I could get into that deeper if somebody cared about it, but it's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, man, I'm excited for some trailblazers and believing the Lord's going to bring those people together, and it's not going to be operating in one person's gifting and skill set and spiritual gift or their anointing or whatever you want to call it. I think it's going to be a communal effort that everybody, the pastor is going to be the one to minister in counsel, and the apostolic folks are going to be the ones that are going to establish it and grow it and build it and help to lead it, and the prophetic folks are going to be the ones that come in and say, hey, this is the direction. I really think we need to take this direction, and we need to be mindful of this. The Lord showed me this. And the teachers are going to be helpful to disciple the congregation and the people and the body as a whole. And the evangelists are going to be the ones that people are drawn to. I feel like if you're an evangelist and you're gifted and skilled in that, when you're out in public, people are probably drawn to you. And I realize, we can all operate in any gift at any given time, and Lord moves as he sees fit stuff. So, but everybody has a certain thing that's just, hey, this has been with me for my entire life. Even when I wasn't, living for the Lord or accepted who I am, this is something that's been in me. But anyway, just excited about some things happening, and really looking forward to the things that the Lord has for us as a body, as a bride, and even the hard stuff that's coming. I'm excited for that. You get mature in the hard times. That promotes maturity. The pressing promotes maturity. The being refined by the fire, that promotes maturity. And I'm really excited about a new discipleship model that's not just a class. And there's nothing wrong with a class, man. People are able to receive a lot from that. But I'm really excited for a discipleship model that says, hey, come do life with me. Let's hang out. If you want to be a pastor, go hang out with some pastors that are called to be pastors. Go hang out with people. You can be a pastor and not pastor a church. So let's get that out there too. We've got to break down that model of secular and sacred to where we can only operate in our gifts in the quote sacred realm of the four walls of the church or whatever. The church is in us, and everywhere we go is in us. Where did God move when Jesus was on the planet? Well, wherever Jesus went, he moved. He didn't just pick a space and say, hey, I'm gonna move in Jerusalem, because he said, hey, my spirit's with you, and wherever you go, I'm gonna be right there with you, before you, after you, and the whole deal. And I'm gonna move for you because I love you, and I want to see people come back to me, and I believe you can bring them there. So anyway, man, just really excited, thankful, glad for some clarity finally in some areas, and the grace for me to begin business has come back. I lost that for a while, I'll be honest. It became so stressful. Just sickening stressful. My wife will tell you. So, and I believe I just at that point lost that grace, and it wasn't that God was punishing me. I think he was just trying to get my attention, because I was beginning to rely too much on my self-intellect. I'm a fairly intelligent guy, and I began to rely too much on that. So he showed me pretty quick that it wasn't my intellect that got me where I am. That's a part of it. He gifted me with intelligence and problem solving ability and courage and all those things that's required to begin a business and to begin helping people and being a trailblazer. I believe I am one of those trailblazers that's going to cut some new paths, and I don't mind getting cut up as I go. But anyway, just excited about some stuff, and wanted to share. Was really moved this morning, so I'm on. Hopefully not get lost in these woods. So if y'all don't hear from me after 5, come looking. So anyway, love you guys. Excited about all the things that are happening. Man, I don't know, just some good things. So I'm going to be praying today. If y'all want to take a minute and pray for me, the Lord to continue to speak clearly to me. And, really, I've been asking God to help, I don't want to say reignite, but, basically fan the flame of the giftings in us, the spiritual giftings of things, that people can get prophetic words and words of knowledge, and people can lay hands on people and they're healed immediately, and that becomes more of a norm for us, and it's not perverted or hoarded out to make money, like some of the times that we see on more broad stream ministries. And what's crazy about that, I think they probably started with wonderful intentions, and the thing just grew into something they had to begin to feed. But there's grace for them somewhere. But I've asked God in my world, God, let me in the circle that you've got with surrounding us, and I'm a part of other circles that I surround others. And God, let us begin to walk and move in the things of the supernatural. That it's just a common thing, that it doesn't get hokey and, some kind of wild, outlandish thing, but God, that it becomes real and evident in our life, that you can manifest your power and presence in us everywhere we go. I've asked God that anybody I'm connected with, that they would begin to receive, the same blessings we're receiving. God showed up in a crazy way in provision. He always does, but he showed some pretty incredible provision the last couple of weeks for us. And that was refreshing, honestly. It was very refreshing, because there was nothing in my power and Matt's power that could fix it or do it. And I didn't even really try, because I knew, well, there's nothing I can do. So, Lord, you're going to have to move, because I'm all tapped here. I'm tapped out ideas. So if he gives me one, I'll run with it. But if not, I'm going to sit here and hang out until you show up, because that's all I got. And things have just really just miraculously been happening for us and for our circle. And man, I don't know, when you come together in community, there's a synergy in the spirit that happens, that things just begin to move, and everybody's tapping into everybody else's resources of faith and wisdom and clarity. And faith exists whether we acknowledge it or not. But whenever you touch your faith to somebody else's faith, now it's amplified. In the lighting and sound world, we call it coupling. Whenever you put two subwoofers together, they produce basically the same power as 3 subwoofers. You put 6 subwoofers together, they produce about the same power as 8 subwoofers. So even though you only got a few numbers, when you put them all together, they produce far more power than what they were capable of on their own. And it's substantial. So anyway, love you guys. I know I'm kind of getting in and out of topic, but I'm gonna go ride in the woods a little bit more and have a good time. I'm trying not to roll this baby and cut some paths. So y'all have a good day.